you waiting, huh?
This video, it's not good.
Não vai não. Agora que esse som tá ficando bom. Daqui não vai não. Daqui não vai não. Daqui não vai não.
Hey, what up? It's your boy Bosch, aka B-. I'm back. Why was I gone? Why am I back? What are my plans for the future of this channel? And what are my thoughts on the whole mainman Swede debacle? All of that and a little bit more. I want to leave timestamps in the description as well as on the video right here. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment. I read all of my comments. Probably not the greatest habit. We'll talk more on that and actually like very soon. Yeah, so about that video, about that fateful video, it was never actually intended to just be so vitriolic, so angry, so upsetting towards the main man, right? And obviously that had a lot of backlash, and the backlash that I received was by and far like just mostly negative, like hundreds of people telling me like, yo, off yourself. Stop making videos, get the fuck out of here. We hate, you're the one who's ruining the, people like you ruin the community, you're awful, terrible, blah, 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 right? Now, obviously these are just like randoms on the internet, names on a screen. Most people wouldn't have any issues with that kind of stuff. And I thought that I was one of them, really. I thought it was really easy to detach yourself from, you know, your online persona. But what I never anticipated was, because I had put so much like pride in that video and time into editing and researching what I was talking about and, you know, gathering all the footage. Like, it took a long fucking time. Like, as someone who didn't really have, I don't have that much experience when it comes to video editing. So I really did look up like a lot of shit, like, you know, when it came to editing like lower thirds and learning how to actually like properly, like, I really tried my hardest when I was editing that video. Basically just having like all these people like shit on my work and then go to my old videos and, you know, dislike them. And it threw me off. Like, it made me not want to continue. And I guess at that, you know, giving them what they want isn't necessarily the smartest thing. From an emotional mental health perspective, I genuinely felt I was very like rocked by what had happened. And I have no one to blame but myself, really, because if I hadn't been so vitriolic in my video, perhaps the responses wouldn't have been so just weirdly negative. Although there was a lot of like just weird uncalled for shit, like just people being like racist. I don't know what that's about. In terms of me being conflicted on the video, it's my most popular video, but at the same time, I never wanted this channel to be popular for like causing unnecessary drama. I genuinely just really enjoyed discussions within the techie community. I would say just in gaming in general, I love talking about balance. I love talking about, I'm just very passionate about gaming, not even just Tekken specifically, but just fighting games and games on the whole. Competitive gaming is just my shit. I really like it. I watch the LCS. I like esports. I like watching Evo every year. I like watching, you know, the smaller cups, Capcom Cup, what is the Canada Cup, I believe? A lot of that stuff. I get really passionate when it comes to talking about strategy, theory, character designs, you know, the little things, like, and there aren't that many people in real life that are actually into this. This is a very niche hobby that we find ourselves in. When given a platform where we're able to discuss and really give our thoughts on, you know, our unabashed thoughts as well, because these videos aren't necessarily for the everyday person to see. These are for like people in the know, people that know what you're talking about. People in the fighting game community are gonna watch these videos. So I just felt like, you know, fuck, I love discussing all of this stuff. Let me just put out some videos. Let me talk about some stuff. And Mainman put out a lot of videos talking about Nina, and I was a big Mainman fan at the time. And so I was like, you know what? Let me respond, because I don't agree. I just straight up, I just disagree with what he's saying. I think that's dumb. I think that, or that mentality that he had in regarding to like this character, I was like, you know what, maybe you shouldn't like perpetuate that. Obviously I could have worded it way better, but I still feel like I hold all of the same, or not all of the same, because I've changed my opinions on a lot of things in regards to Tekken, but I feel, and I think this was just misunderstood, or maybe I worded it poorly in my video. I do not think the main man is a bad player or a scrub or like dumb or anything. I think just the opinion of like, this character is cheap and they give you free wins And I'm like, dude, my main argument in that video was like, if you don't understand, fighting games are inherently matchup based, right? If you don't understand that, then you're not really playing fighting games, right? You need to know the matchup. You need to know how to fight the character that you're fighting against. Otherwise, you're not playing the game really. You're just you're still learning. And at that point, when you're still learning, you're gonna get bodied anyway, right? So in that sense, Nina being cheap is entirely irrelevant, right? Because you could say that about any character that, you know, the player in question that is fighting this other character that they're not aware of, they'll find that character cheap. They'll be like, well, why didn't this work? Oh, I don't know. Like, every character in a fighting game has some weird way to break the rules. It's not even just fighting games at that point. It's like every fucking competitive game is like this, where you have rules that every character abides by. However, they break them in like little ways, right? Like, Xiao Yu will not get hit by a large amount of moves just because her hitbox is so small that she'll just evade them.
Yeah, as long as she can put together her offense here, she'll be fine. Did she do anything?
No.
Oh my God!
Wait! His hands went through her body, fam!
What? What? Man, all right. If I'm unexcited right now, I'm pissed.
I'm hella pissed. Dude.
Or in League of Legends, it's like, there are large walls and obstacles that most champions can't go through, but Kayn literally walks through walls. Like, things like that. Understanding what these characters do is a main part of learning the game, and saying that a character is cheap or that this character is way too difficult to play against. Like, it's a moot point, because the people that would be complaining about that don't really understand the game anyway. Kind of thing. You know what I mean? And that's not me saying that these games are all perfectly balanced either. There are totally things that are fucking ridiculous, absolutely broken and unfair to play against, right? But that is, we weren't really arguing about that. We were not talking about any of that kind of stuff. And that's like, that gets into like some deep meta shit. But I really just wanted to say that it was never my intention to cause such unnecessary turbulence within the community or any of that. But honestly, at this point, like, nobody cares. It's been 8 months. I'm putting this video out mostly for me because this has been on my mind for the longest time, and I still would really like to share my passion for video games with people on the internet, because this is just a fantastic platform to do that, and I can do it for free. I can do it in my spare time, and I get to cultivate my editing skills as I do it, so I don't see why I wouldn't continue. I haven't been continuing thus far just because, like, I literally could not play Tekken for the longest time, just because I read all those comments, and like, after every loss, because losing is a natural part of these games, after every loss, I would think, and I'd like, there were a lot of comments that stood out, like, you don't know what you're talking about, you're garbage, that kind of stuff. And it does get to you. It doesn't matter if it's like 1 or 2 people, but when it's like hundreds of people, you start to think, like, you can't just think that, well, you know, they're all insane. Like, if everybody else is insane, then obviously, like, you're the one who's nuts, right? Although it took me a long time to come to the conclusion that, you know, I shouldn't take everybody's opinion into consideration, and just because everyone else might think something, I can still like have my own opinions and still feel validated, so long as like my logic is correct, or I at least deem it so. I think I'm okay with dealing with some people who disagree with my opinion. That's okay. I was always okay with people disagreeing, as long as it's respectful. But just after the vehemently negative response that I received, it really threw me away from the game, man. I'm not even gonna lie. I was just like, man, fuck this game. I'm gonna play like literally everything else under the sun. I'm gonna play Divinity Original Sin. I'm playing Diablo 2 right now. I play Diablo 2 way more than I do Tekken 7. I do League way more. There's a lot that I play instead of that. And I'd like to share those experiences with you as a viewer as well, just because I think they're so interesting. But anyway, enough of that. So why am I back? Obviously, I want to keep making videos. I want to keep sharing my passion for video games. What are my plans for the future of the channel? Obviously, I want to work on League videos. I want to work on Tekken videos. I'd like to really stream, but I'm moving very, very, very soon. So I'm not entirely sure as to when that's happening, but keep posted. I got a lot of videos in the work right now. I promise they're coming very soon. Working on a lot of that. I'd like to get some more fighting games. Grand Blue came out very recently. I hear the netcode's bad, but I'm pretty sure the local scene is going to be pretty shway, because I'm out here in, you know, Southern Ontario. Toronto's pretty close by, so I don't see a problem, you know, heading those ends. I really want to play Soul Calibur, MK11, just all like the newer gen fighting games. I never really got into DBZ, but I'm not sure if I want to. If you guys have any suggestions on like just new fighting games, I hear Under Night In-Birth is really cool. So any suggestions at all in terms of fighting games, I'd love to hear them. Thoughts on like the actual response video that Mainman Sweet put out. We're pretty deep into the video. We should be like 12 or so, like 11 or 12 minutes in at this point. I'm recording this like all off script, by the way. That's why it's so rambly. I'm gonna cut a lot of this down, so there will be like, you know, little chops here and there. But don't worry about that. But basically, the majority of the complaints that I had with Mainman Sui's video were like he would say just factually incorrect things. And that's not me like shitting on him or anything. Here is a clip of him saying something that is verifiably not true, where he talks about this string that doesn't exist to prove a point about something being hard to defend against.
Spam the same string over and over, it's weaker. And of course this is correct, but what I was going for was more rather that string is very hard to counter. You have to step, and what he calls a highly telegraphed string with those free kicks, to me it's not highly telegraphed, it's kind of fast, to be honest. It's low, high, mid, and you kind of have to anticipate it, and it actually has 4 variations. Down 3-4 on its own, not adding the last hit, and down forward 3-2 into a mid launcher, down forward 3, down 4 into a low kick, and then there's the one we're talking about.
But in reality, all you have to do to defend against that specific series of string that he's talking about, you either block and then commit to a punish or take your turn, or you sidestep. That you can sum the whole thing up into those. There's nothing else you have to do to beat that string. All you have to do is either commit to blocking or you sidestep. If you do like the wrong thing where it's like, oh, I sidestepped, he just finished, then you're still at like plus frames. Maybe you took a little bit of damage from the low, or you blocked and you finished the string. Oh no, it's still her turn. Like, keep blocking, man. It's fine. It's not that bad. Another issue that I had was we both seemed to just entirely like miss each other's points. He dodged a lot of what I said, or like argued weird, strange points. Like he argues about like Eddie's back 1-4 being OP, but then they like removed it from the game. Yeah, it wasn't an issue for higher level players, but it seems really weird to bring a move that got removed because it was seen as problematic and use that as like justification for being like, well, you know, there are different degrees of hell. Like I mean, I guess there are a lot of things that are problematic for really new players, like dick jab spamming. Should dick jab spamming be removed or changed because it's too easy for new players? I don't know. Maybe. Well, it's just a weird point. Like what am I supposed to say? It's just so weird. It's not an opinion is my problem. It's just not something you can like argue. It's just kind of a statement like this move was ridiculous. It's like there are a lot of ridiculous moves in this game, but that one was seen as so ridiculous that it was removed. There's nothing like that anymore. There are still low launchers. There's still like snake edges and 10 hit strings. Like there is so much shit that you have to know the exact response to in this game. I think that Nina she's indicative of a bigger problem in Tekken, where there are so many things that require very specific timing responses in this game, like understanding King's strings and where you have to sidestep because he doesn't have good tracking on most of his moves, aside from the tracking moves, and how to beat his chain grabs, or fighting against Jin and you might think that he's a Mishima, but he isn't, so you step to the other side of his God Fist instead of the same side, or understanding that, you know, Kazuya excels in the mid-range rather than the close range, but when he gets into the close range, he gets really dangerous. Like, there are a lot of, like, really niche things that you need an intermediate to advanced level of understanding in Tekken, but it's just kind of like a nature of the beast in the whole. Honestly, I wrote, like, script after script after script about it. And if anybody's still interested in like seeing the video where I really actually like go to task on like each and every point, then by all means tell me in the comments if that's still something you're interested in. I would imagine that no, because it's been like 8 months, and who cares, really? Like it's a fighting game. Like you're free to have whatever opinion you want. I don't really give a fuck. Do you, man? If you think that Nina's cheap and you never want to use her, and anyone that uses her is a scrub, you're naive and you're honestly not helping anybody. But hey, you know, do you, man. That's cool. I'm just of the mindset that like I think that you should look to improve and you should seek to make the community improve. And when you say shit like this character is cheap, you're not helping anybody. You're not helping your case. You're not really saying anything. You're just kind of whining. You shouldn't like whine and perpetuate like the complaint culture that has recently swept the fighting game community.